It's the Score North Twin Show. Baseball.
All right. Our guy Dex on paternity leave duties here, but he was at the ballpark for the press conferences yesterday. And so if you missed some of Declan's reporting from the parking lot at Target Field on the Trevor Plouffe episode of the Twin Show yesterday, and Plouffe was great as always. You can check that out. There's the us reacting to the Pohlad quotes in 2-Star Tribune articles on the Monday episode, but we bring to you our guy Darren Doogie Wolfson from the 5 Eyewitness News Sports Department, who was also at Target Field yesterday, and you've been sniffing around some different connections and people within the game. So Doogs, let's just start the conversation with you spoke with Falvey, you've talked with some other people. The Twins need a manager. But the Twins are also just layered on top of all of this. The Twins are probably at their lowest approval rating point among fans in, 25 years. So there's just a lot for Derek Falvey and company and the Pohlads to dig out from underneath, starting with a managerial search. So what did you glean in your conversations yesterday that you can share with us?
Phil, it is amazing how much has changed in just 2 years. Think about early October 2023. You beat the Blue Jays. You win a playoff series for the first time in 21 years? You win a playoff game for the first time in forever. We consider a lot of these baseball playoff games a coin flip. Yet the Twins had that lengthy playoff losing streak. But even after losing to the Astros, we felt pretty good. Now, we understood, hey, Sonny Gray was hitting unrestricted free agency. In all likelihood, he was going to depart. But still, entering 24, we felt, I think I can say collectively, we felt pretty good about the Twins' chances. Heck, until early August 2024, things were relatively good. Then the worst collapse in team history happens mid-August until the end of the 24 season. Then this year happens. There's some quotes from Joe Pohlad. That's why he won't do anything on camera. Trust me, I've made every effort. It's amazing how often he'll talk to a newspaper reporter, won't do anything in front of a microphone. Not even for the Twins radio network. I'm not saying it has to be me, but what about internally do something in front of a microphone? He won't do it, but some of the comments about right-sizing things, reference to the payroll, this, that. So, yeah, I'm with you, Phil. I can't think going back any number of years. Maybe we have to go back to the Chris Klauser days, the portable stadium idea, like 1998, 1999, right?
I don't hate that idea.
To me, we need to go back and, hey, a lot of the audience that's probably consuming this right now or will consume this has no idea what the heck I'm referencing when I say the name.
Yeah.
Chris Klauser. That's how long ago we need to go back for the potential of their approval rating being this low. And I'm not even sure it was this low way back then. So, yeah, from a business standpoint, there is so much for them to do. And, hey, how is this thing going to be any better? I get it. In terms of the roster, let's evaluate it March 1st, not necessarily October 1st. But the core really isn't going anywhere. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of trade this winter. But for the most part, a good chunk of the core is in place. I'm not sure how this thing will be any better in 2026.
Which leads to a very simple question. Why does Derek Falvey keep his job?
Well, and I will tell you a very simple answer. For lack of a better way of explaining it, he's in bed with the Pohlads, specifically Joe. That Joe Pohlad, the Pohlads, and hey, the evidence is clear, Judd. He runs the business operation side in addition to the baseball operation side. He has aligned himself perfectly with the Pohlads because to me, we could make the case that if you're Derek, you retain Rocco for one more year. You exercised the option, so you need to pay Rocco anyway for 2026. You could make a compelling case. You keep that scapegoat in place because after 26 potentially goes haywire, That's when you make the move on the manager. You buy yourself that much more time. Now the scapegoats are gone. It's squarely on Derek Falvey. But to me, he is so in alignment with the Pohlads, specifically Joe, that to me, Derek doesn't need to worry about one iota, doesn't need to worry for 1 second about his job security. I'm not saying that's the right way to approach this, but I'm just saying that's the reality.
You know, to drill down on Derek Falvey as the central figure now of this mess on both the baseball ops and the business side, it is kind of fascinating to me that over the past, I don't know, year and change or whatever, like basically the past 10 to 12 months, Derek Falvey has said goodbye to Thad Levine, who is his tag team partner in all of this, building it starting in 2017 for a few years, after Thad's role was sort of systematically decreased over time. So they say goodbye to one of the key figures of this along with Falvey. He takes Dave St. Peter's job in addition to gathering even more power throughout baseball operations, and then fires his right-hand man manager that he chose. And I'm not saying that like any of these or all of these are wrong moves. I think a managerial change makes absolute sense. I don't think Rocco was like the main reason why these collapses are happening, but I do think you need a better team of coaches and a manager that can help just give these players the tools that they need to perform at their peak. But the fact that you've got Thad out, St. Peter out, Falvey takes St. Peter's role in addition to his current role, and then boots the manager that he hired a few years ago. Boy, that's a lot of smart people that were part of the core of this that are just gone, and it's Derek Falvey left standing, Dukes.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty amazing, but I'm with you, Phil. Like on the surface, a managerial change, it's not like, it's like, what are you thinking, Twins? Like, it makes sense right now. Me personally, it's my bias. I like Rocco the person, and I don't think it was all squarely on him. So I would have been fine with Rocco returning, but I understand why they made the move. By the way, let me make this very clear, just from being over at Target Field yesterday, chatting, talking with others, texting, all that this has nothing to do with August and September of this year, right? This thing predates the trade deadline, right? For the totality of the year, you think about the IQ of this Twins team, as low as any team in the game. So many head-scratching decisions, so many questionable moves. That is somewhat on Rocco, his staff. There certainly will be an emphasis on whoever the next manager is, plus the staff, on development. Right, Phil? When you think about all these young position players that aren't necessarily so young anymore, but why haven't they succeeded at the big league level after being highly touted prospects, succeeding in the minors? Matt Wallner, Trevor Larnach, Royce Lewis, Brooks Lee, Eddie Julian, Jose Miranda. Heck, you could look at the outfield. There's 5 outfielders, lefty batters, right? Larnach, Wallner, Alan Roden, James Outman, Deshaun Kersey Jr. Like, of those 5 in total, are we talking like maybe of the 5, there's like one big leaguer, like combined, right?
Yeah.
There's a development issue. That's why I put it out on social media on Tuesday that they are changing their development coaching staff, that they're blowing that thing up, that Mike Quaddy, the former Cubs manager, former Rochester AAA manager, he was their roving outfield instructor. Edgar Valera, that used to be one of their hitting coaches, roving minor league hitting guru, whatever it is. Those were the 2 longest tenured Twins employees, but there's others. Like, the Twins have blown up, for lack of a better way of putting it, their development coaching side. We knew a few weeks ago of the pro scouting changes, letting go some pro scouts, but I can now tell you that there are multiple names out on the development coaching side.
So, Dukes, from being at Target Field on Tuesday and just from talking to people, do you get any sense that people internally have an idea of how much trouble this team is in, as far as, because firing Rocco is going to get a brief like buzz going, but it's not going to sell tickets. Like, so it's not like, oh, Baldelli's gone. Hey, sign me up for season tickets, or I'm going to buy a 20-game package. Do they have, like, is there a comprehension up to the Pohlads, who I know aren't talking on camera, but is there a comprehension of just how much trouble this franchise is in right now with the public? Because I feel like we are at Kurt Rambis Timberwolves apathy stage, which is, I don't care about you. And I mean, that is the worst place in life to be. Do they even have an iota, including, by the way, the president of business operations, who happens to be the president of baseball ops as well? Do they even have an iota of an idea of how bad this has gotten?
They do have an idea. Whether they have an idea on how exactly to fix it, it is so wide-ranging, that's another question. But they are fully aware. But, Judd, like, where do we start? Like, I've heard from some Twins fans that never came back this year because of the TV issue last year. Comcast, right. Dish Network. Then the issues with the communication of what the TV plan was for this year. That, okay, yes, I have Twins games. I happen to have DirecTV, right? But whatever your cable outlet is, that you would have Twins games, but the messaging was goofy. I think a lot of people thought, no, I won't have access on DirecTV or Comcast. That I need to sign up for this streaming service, twins.tv. The messaging was all goofy. I still think, whether it's parking, concessions, right? We can go up and down the list of things that need to be looked at. To me, it's still a wonderful experience, even if you're just a casual baseball fan. To me, there's not a better outdoor bar on a beautiful June night, July night, August night. To me, there's not a better outdoor Minnesota bar than Target Field. There are still some selling points. Oh, by the way, about this time next year, unless something drastically changes, there is going to be a lockout. The sport is going to shut down November of 2026, right after next season. The 2027 season is very much up in the air, right? And I don't know how to quantify if there's some fans thinking about that, hey, the sport is so broken, it's about to have some sort of lengthy work stoppage. Why should I pay attention? So to me, it's all encompassing. They are aware, though. I don't know how you fix all those issues. I really don't.
Yeah. Let's talk about Torii Hunter for a second. You've known Torii for a long time, going back. I mean, basically, like, your career as a media member and a reporter in this town kind of mirrors his playing career and then post-career. So you've covered him for a long time. And he has essentially been away from the Twins organization for like 5 years. There's like, from what I know, I don't think it's like anything that couldn't be patched up with just a couple good conversations. But it's not of the 25 or 30 years of Torii Hunter in the organization, this is probably as like tension filled as it's been from what I have heard. But he is on the record. He wants to be a manager. He has been a special assistant for the Angels for the past couple of years. And Dukes, if you were to have told me at any point the last few years, the Twins are going to be in need of a new manager, and Torii Hunter really wants to manage, but there's really like no discussion at all between the two parties, at least as of right. It's really early, but at least as of right now, it would be shocking to me if he became the manager of the Angels without any consideration or discussion or thought on the Twins side, knowing that they need a manager right now too. So what are your thoughts on the idea of Torii Hunter manager?
Yeah, I mean, again, bias, right? Because, I remember Bella Notte, Block E, way back in the day, hanging out with Torii Hunter, having that sort of relationship away from
Judd was there too, right?
The
Judd?
Metrodome, right? So, I affectionately call him T-Nuts. Like, we have that sort of relationship, right? He's not Torii to me. He's T-Nuts. Okay, so, yes, like, to me, he needs to at least be considered. He absolutely has interest in this job. But you're right. It seems his relationship with the Angels is a slight bit better. Now, he was here for the Diamond Awards.
Yeah, it's not like toxic
in January. So it's not toxic, but everything you said, from what I can gather, is spot on. But what are the two most important things a manager does? you can debate this with me, but is it lineup construction and bullpen management when it comes to on the field? Or where do those two rank? Lineup construction, bullpen management.
Those are, to me, those in 2025, even if you're a little old school and you push back against the 2:00 meetings, where you can decide a lot of that stuff kind of in advance based on numbers.
Bingo. So what I'm saying is if you hire Torii Hunter, the front office can push a lot of those buttons, or at least help him push those buttons. I think, yeah, with the current athlete, the clubhouse in 2026, managing egos, confidence, building up confidence, certainly
Culture.
Player development, culture, right? You know, Patrick Royce's favorite sports buzzword. But hey, there's something to be said about that. Working with these players at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 5, 6 hours before game time. But just more than anything, instilling confidence and giving them the knowledge that they need to be in the best position possible to succeed. Do I think Torii Hunter could accomplish all of that? Absolutely. And again, I'm biased. But do I think that? Yes. But I think there's some other names. I mean, if thinking about former Twins, Nelson Cruz doing some work with the LA Dodgers, Dominican World Baseball Classic team. I can tell you Nelson Cruz has genuine interest in this job. I would consider Nelson Cruz.
Yeah.
I think back to some of the names, what was it, 7 years ago, October of 2018, before they ultimately decided on Rocco Baldelli, James Rowson, even Brandon Hyde. Now, I get it. The Orioles were a train wreck this year. I understand that, but Brandon Hyde also had a lot of success in Baltimore. Would you consider those two names again? You interviewed them. You felt pretty good about those interviews back in 2018, Brandon Hyde, James Rowson. Would you reconsider those names now? So I'm open-minded to all sorts of different possibilities, but specifically on Torii, yes, sign me up for at least an interview. You at least need to vet out that possibility.
Okay, so I'm going to push back a little bit, though, on the 2 o'clock, hey, Torii, we will help you. Whatever they're doing is not working. And clearly, Derek Falvey's over his skis as far as what he thought he knew or could help with. Torii Hunter, like this is the thing, and analytics has a place. It's in the game to stay. So I'm not old man yelling at clouds saying, get him out of here. But Torii Hunter or previously Molitor knew more about baseball than any of the people working for the team currently. So I would also not make this, hey, Torii, you come and help the players feel good about themselves and teach self-esteem, and we'll do the lineup card or we'll decide what we should do. I think Derek Falvey's proven he is in over his head there. That doesn't mean he can't have a say. That doesn't mean he can't be involved. But like this whole thing of him, and this is why I don't get why he has a job. This whole thing of him being a boss has gone awfully wrong in every way now. So if I hire Torii, I want him for his baseball acumen too, because he's going to tell me things and I'm going to be like, oh, because I am an analytics guy, I didn't think of that. And you can think of this, and let's go back and forth. But I don't think this should be, I'm going to hire someone to handle the clubhouse, and I'm going to help you. Torii Hunter, if I'm Torii, part of my agreement, if I'm anybody, part of my agreement is we're going to sit down right now, and we're going to put in writing that I get say on a lot of things. Because you having say has been a tremendous nightmare for the past 2 years.
Okay, fair. Yeah, I'm not going to offer resistance on that.
I mean, Torii knows a ton about baseball. You know,
yeah.
it's not a...
Yes, he does. And I'm with you. There is a spot for analytics. But sometimes instincts need to kick in. And hey, I like Aaron Boone, and I get it. Like this morning, it's an easy second guess. But to me, it was an easy first guess. Jazz Chisholm, Phil, was he 30-30 this year? Jazz Chisholm?
He was 30. He was definitely 30 in the homers department, wasn't he?
All right, well, I get it. Garrett Crochet, elite lefty. I understand that. But, like, Jazz Chisholm needed to be in the starting lineup last night. Game 1, Yankees-Red Sox. He's on the bench. And I get it. To me, it's a small sample size, but Ahmed Rosario, okay, he's had some success against Crochet. In fact, a good amount of success in, like, 8, 9, 10 at-bats. So, to me, pretty darn small sample size. But I'm not benching Jazz Chisholm. I'm just not doing it. Like, to me, would any Yankees fan today, seriously, would any Yankees fan be like, okay, We lost because Ahmed Rosario was not in the lineup. But now you're complaining, you're bitching about how the heck do you put this 30-30 guy on the bench? Yeah, he pinch hit late, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, he pinch hit against Aroldis Chapman, by the way. Like,
I know.
Come on in. Like, you've been sitting around for 3 hours. Why don't you grab a bat and face this guy?
Correct. So to circle it back to Torii, to me, Torii would have those instincts. Like, I just have a hard time believing Torii has Jazz Chisholm on the bench. And, oh, by the way, I like Aaron Boone. I do. And, hey, if the Red Sox win tonight or tomorrow, Aaron Boone may be available. Now, there's 8 managerial openings.
I'd hire Aaron Boone.
And so I don't know if Aaron Boone chooses the Twins, but I would consider Aaron Boone. I really would.
I would too.
But I'm just saying, like, in the moment, like, maybe instincts needed to kick in. And I get it. It's the easy second guess, really easy second guess.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, Jazz Chisholm had to be in the lineup last night. He had to be.
Yeah.
I just think Torii would have made that decision.
There's a certain, like, listen, man, I mean, just some background, because I think there's a lot of people that consume Score North podcast. Maybe you discovered Purple Daily or the Twin Show in the last 2 or 3 years. And I personally get the stick to football, Mackey, every time Mackey ventures outside. I got my start in this business as a baseball analytics writer back like 15, 20 years ago and covered the Twins beat for a few years. And so my background in this industry and my first love in this industry was baseball, beat writer in the Clubhouse, and also analytics. I love baseball analytics, and Fangraphs was my freaking homepage for like 8 years. That said, the Twins feel like, and I complained for years. I used to spar with Terry Ryan. Terry Ryan, we did a weekly radio show together for years. I consider him a dear friend, and we would spar about this stuff. And I remember he came on one time, like it was the second stint for him, and I was poking him about the lack of analytics department. They had like one guy running their analytics department. And other teams had 25 people on staff, and he goes, we do have 25 analytics people. They're called scouts. And I was like, Terry, I'm talking about, like, there's information that your players aren't getting. I feel like they've gone so far in the non-human direction. It's almost become unrecognizable. They're making decisions with very little regard, from my perspective, to culture. And like it's so robotic, and even like the players in the clubhouse, there's no vibe. The last time they had a vibe in that clubhouse was Nelson Cruz, and before that, Torii Hunter helping to create it. I think they thought Carlos Correa might help create a vibe, but you can't just win a championship off of beep burp beep burp. Like we're going to outmath the opposing teams. It's still a bunch of humans and egos and professional athletes that need to maximize their talents. And there's a human element thing missing from this that I feel like a Torii Hunter or an Aaron Boone, who has a huge personality and is extremely confident in his abilities and his teams, they need to look for, and maybe it's someone we've never heard of, Doogie, but they need to be keenly aware of that human element, culture building aspect that I don't think they're tapping into the last couple of years.
Oh, they're definitely not tapping into it. When was Royce Lewis batting eighth? Was it a long stretch? There was a stretch where Royce Lewis was batting eighth.
After the trade deadline. After the trade deadline.
Right after the trade deadline. Okay. Batting eighth. Are you freaking kidding me?
Agreed.
Empower the young man.
Thank you.
You move him up. That to me is.
But if you look at the statistics, Doogie, if you look at the spreadsheet.
Correct. Right? That's what we're pointing to. Torii Hunter now, hey, his bias, right? Because Royce is right there in his backyard in the Dallas suburbs, right? So they spend a lot of time together in the winter. But I can promise you, Torii Hunter on August 5th was not batting Royce Lewis eighth.
One last thing, and then from that perspective, the batting eighth thing. I ranted about that when it happened because I don't give it. You just punted on your season. I don't give a rip about like the optimal way to put together a lineup is less important than taking your number one overall pick from a few years ago, who's trying to get back mentally, physically to where he was, and literally looking at him and saying, and he kind of feels like the organization is letting him down. And whether he's fully right or wrong, like you could debate that. But in that moment, don't you look at him and say, hey, dude, this is your organization now. Carlos is gone. We just traded 10 dudes. I know you're kind of struggling. You're trying to get back to who you are. You're batting second now. Go get it, dude. And you're going to bat second for a month. Don't worry about it. This is your team now. And just put the bat in his hands. Am I wrong?
No.
So, if I may, though, I would like to recklessly speculate as far as the state of mind of the entire franchise, beginning with Falvey and the Pohlads, too. I think the Royce thing also goes back to the fact that Royce is incredibly clearly headstrong, right? And if you sort of notice, there's a pattern here. If you're threatening, if you're deemed as threatening by the shrinking violets that are the twins of, oh, we don't do that here. I think Royce was also being put in his place. And that's an even bigger problem. But I'm telling you, I don't think those are like based on statistical patterns as much as this young man doesn't understand what we're doing here. And instead of embracing him and saying, okay, dude, you are headstrong, but that's awesome. Let's use that to our advantage. Let's look at Falvey's pattern. This ain't hard. Thad Levine, incredibly smart. Should be probably the president of baseball ops, right? I mean, this guy is like, Thad Levine's a guy that you look at and you say, you know what? Dude's smarter than me, and I know it, and I appreciate that. Derek Falvey, you don't. Thad Levine's gone. Okay? Molitor clearly was a baseball savant. Like, he's probably the smartest baseball person in this state, if not the country. He probably pushed back and said, some of your ideas are fine, but some suck. He's gone. He's out. First chance that they got, he's out. I'm just saying, Jeremy Zoll. Look at Jeremy Zoll. You think Jeremy Zoll's a threat? I mean, he's called a GM. He's essentially a bat boy. Okay. So like, I think my bigger problem with the Royce thing is what I saw was they saw a headstrong dude and they didn't like that because they can't control him. And he's not always right. But so my problem is I think they were trying to suppress him and put him in his place, which, by the way, is the worst leadership possible. But I mean, I have a major problem. And I mean, Derek Falvey's now in charge of everything. I'd love to know that whole story. You know, one, it saves Dave St. Peter, I'm sure, made a nice chunk of change. He's gone. You give Falvey a little bit of a raise, but he's certainly not going to take Dave's entire salary. But this whole organization now, it feels like runs on to use an Eric Kendricks term, a culture of fear based on the fact that we don't want people who are headstrong. We want people who fall in line, who listen, including the manager, to what we say. And Rocco now is a fall guy because you had to do something.
Yeah,
but the way that Royce was treated is
outspoken. Yeah.
Right. But they don't like that. And that's the problem, is that's their problem. He's a really good baseball player.
The issue is, if you go back to the 17 draft, even coming out of high school, the book on Royce was headstrong, uber confident, can be outspoken, certainly an extrovert, not an introvert. They like so many of the characteristics about Royce, the prospect, when they're thinking, okay, we have a tough decision here. Hunter Green looks like he is going to be really good, and he is, right? Maybe not last night when facing that great Dodgers lineup, but starting game one of a playoff series against the Reds. Yeah. The Twins could have selected Hunter Green. They did all sorts of homework, private workout, everything on Hunter Green. They decided Royce is our guy, in somewhat part because of that confidence. Yeah. Now you throw it in his face. I mean, I don't have any evidence to suggest that's exactly why he was moved down to 8. But, Judd, on the surface, it makes all sorts of sense. I will offer a little blowback on Jeremy Zoll. I think he's more than, however you termed it, a puppet, whatever.
Bat boy.
Bat boy. That he does a little bit more. Okay. But sure, it's Derek Falvey's show. I mean, it was even a little goofy on Tuesday when Jeremy Zoll is sitting there. Now, TV-wise, the way they did TV than the newspaper / Athletic and all that, right? So we spoke with Derek for 10-ish minutes. Then Jeremy came in to do some player development stuff, gave us the update on Luke Keyshaw undergoing left thumb surgery today in Arizona, some stuff like that. We did ask him about just, making the move on Rocco, but it was more kind of player development type stuff. But then it was 55 minutes with the writers. And I would say for 49 of the 55 minutes, it was Derek Falvey talking. But Jeremy Zoll was seated to his left. Yeah. Jeremy chimed in a little bit, but it was a little awkward from that standpoint that Jeremy was sitting there not talking for so long. And so, I'm still trying to figure out the exact Jeremy Zoll role, but I do know, based on his background, LA Dodgers, all that there are people in the game that say Jeremy Zoll, he's 38, 39, 40, that he's young enough that he's on one of those pathways. It might be 8 to 10 years from now, but him being a president of baseball operations is certainly something people in the game can see down the road.
Yeah. All right, let's we'll get to more here. There's a lot to dissect here. A couple quick shout outs. Appreciate Federated Insurance powering this episode of the Score North Twin Show. Federated has been around helping small to medium-sized businesses for a long time, the backbone of America, with protecting your company's reputations, workplaces, employees, and financial assets. It's like having a great offensive line for your business. And Federated specializes in industries like retailers and wholesalers, manufacturing companies, auto services, dealerships, contractors, woodworking and cabinetry companies, and there's other industries they specialize in too. So if you are interested in just better frontline protection for your small or medium-sized business, go to federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. And Doogie's appearances across Score North podcast presented by Awaken 180 Weight Loss, Doogs.
Absolutely, Phil. So now that the calendar is flipped to October, I can safely say it was absolutely a September to remember for me, thanks to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Down 14 pounds, started their program early September. The website, awaken180weightloss.com. Again, awaken180weightloss.com. It feels good to wear a suit on TV that I haven't worn in many months. The extra notch on the belt buckle. I'm at Timberwolves Media Day on Monday. I'm over at the Wolves' first practice on Tuesday. I run into esteemed Flagrant House co-host Kyle Tigey. Comes up to me and says, "Hey, Doogs, you're looking good. You're down some weight." I said, "Kyle, that feels great. Thank you for noticing that," right? When people pay you compliments, it puts a smile on your face. I'm getting those compliments. I've lost some of the chunk in my face. It's an easy program to follow. No medications, no workouts required, no fasting, no calorie counting. You eat to lose weight. If you're on the run like I am oftentimes, easy plan to follow. A lot of the shakes, you just add water, shake them up, boom, ready to be consumed. They hold you accountable. It absolutely works. The website, awaken180weightloss.com. Again, awaken180weightloss.com. The results are proven.
Doogs, baseball. What else should we have our radar up for here with all the Twins balls in the air here? Look, actually, I want to go back to something you said about Joe Pohlad for a second. We went really deep on the two Star Tribune articles, and the Pohlads introduced Joe's brother Tom Pohlad as a public speaker in one of those articles. He was quoted as essentially, it's kind of, we don't know the tone of it because again, it's a newspaper article and he's quoted in a room, but he essentially said that fans should not question the Pohlad family's commitment to investing in the team. You can question the wisdom of our investment. That's fine, which I think we're doing here. But the fact that nobody, whether it's Joe or Tom, who's speaking for the first time, feels comfortable speaking publicly in front of, so you there's all these big things that have happened. You traded 40% of your active roster, which kind of shook the fan base even more than it's been shook, and the clubhouse, by the way, too. Like, what is happening? And then you announced that you are no longer selling the team. You're pulling the team off the market. You've got minority investors, and then you fire the manager all in like a 2.5 month stretch. Whether I work for the Twins, play for the Twins, cover the Twins, or buy tickets to go see Twins games, I want someone from the ownership group to be able to come out at a press conference or some format and speak confidently about the direction of the organization. Like, I don't think that's too much to ask. Can you lead a professional sports organization if you're not able to succinctly and eloquently and maybe even inspirationally tell the public and the people that work for you what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking on camera in the last handful of months, Mark Wilf, Vikings, made available. Alex Rodriguez, Mark Laurie, certainly made available in Vegas in July. They'll be made available again soon enough. I think about Craig Leopold at the announcement of Grand Casino Arena held court. Then he did some stuff at a preseason game last week. Judd, you were among media members in his suite. Then he has spoken since. Why not? The Kirill Kaprizov deal has gotten done. So I think about the 4 major men's pro sports teams here in town. We've had pretty good access to the ownership groups of 3 of the 4. Well, there's one that's just sitting there. And yeah, okay, if the Twins or if Joe wants to say, yeah, I spoke to the Star Tribune. Do something on camera. Do something in front of a microphone. Do it for Twins TV, Twins YouTube, whatever it is. It doesn't need to be Channel 5 or you name the independent media outlet. Do it internal. But yes, I think it's time for the fans to hear from Joe Pohlad. But Phil, there's a fear that he's going to say something so idiotic, so stupid that everybody will grasp onto, rightfully so probably, that will end up biting him and the organization in the ass, right? And so there's nothing in their minds to be gained from him talking into a microphone. But sure, selfishly, what we do, provide us that fodder, provide us that content. But I don't believe that's happening anytime soon. Maybe it happens at Twins Fest in January.
He's not going to do it.
Of months, but I'm not even holding out hope for that.
But if you don't, okay, let's just say that you are not. It's like, you know what? Perfect example. Ziggy Wilf took the lead for a few years, and it didn't really work out. He would say things that were embarrassing. And so what did the Wilfs do? They sort of regrouped and said, okay, Mark Wilf is a better public speaker. They found a Wilf to talk. At the very least, and again, this is where I feel like no one advises or has the guts to actually talk to the Pohlads. I think Dave St. Peter did back in the day, but he's now gone. But the reality is this then, find a president of business or baseball ops who doesn't give you word salad. Derek Falvey, for the most part, gets up there and just talks in circles, and everybody knows it. And he doesn't do it in a way where it's like, oh, you're taking this seriously. He does it in a way where, again, wink, wink, I'm going to confuse you. Thad Levine would have had a chance. Thad Levine would have been a perfect person to get up there because he would have used words like this is unacceptable. And he would have used words that were succinct and didn't try to talk around problems. But here's my question, though, because Falvey referred to this a couple of times in passing. If and when these minority investors are identified as being human life forms and they actually come in and get involved, Falvey referred to the fact that they're going to have some say. They're helping pay down a $500 million debt, so they should have say. Do we have a sense that they are going to be decision makers then and tell the Pohlads, you know what, guys, you kept the team for now, but you're really not good at this. Let us help you, because nobody's helping them. The Pohlads, I can tell you right now, are getting no good advice, and it feels like everyone's afraid to tell them you are screwing this up beyond belief. And
trust me, I've been digging for a while trying to figure out who these individuals are. It's not leaking right now. I'm trying, right. I promise.
Yeah, I'm not faulting you.
Are trying as well. So I'd like to know who these individuals exactly are. My understanding, Judd, is they will have a seat at the table, not individually, as a group. And so some say, but do I think they're going to have some sort of ultimate say? Until I hear otherwise, no, I don't think that will be the case.
Yeah. Man. We do have to go because we have Royce, who also is going to have some thoughts on this. We're going to record Royce Unchained. But Dukes, thanks for joining the Score North Twin Show. For people that are trying to pin down the Doogie schedule here too, Purple Daily most Tuesdays and Thursdays during Viking season. But obviously, as Timberwolves ramp up and as more Twins news approaches, you'll be able to find Doogie here with us on Flagrant Howls and the Score North Twin Show and his A job, 5 Eyewitness News, and D Wolfson KSTP tweeting out stuff too. So, Doogie, great stuff, dude.
Thank you. And hey, Uncle Mercy on the Sonny Gray talk. I know it's a new topic or relatively new because Joe Ryan cited it. The Twins were not giving him 4 years, $100 million. That's what it would have taken for Sonny to seriously consider coming back here. Not that he was anti coming back here. I think some of the stuff about his relationship with Rocco maybe was a bit overblown, but he was always pinpointing going to St. Louis. Now, it's interesting that it looks like St. Louis will move on from Sonny this winter, but it would have taken above what St. Louis gave him, which was what, 375, 374, 373. Like if the Twins just matched that offer, he was going to St. Louis. He was not coming back here. And so I don't know, in the moment, I didn't have a problem with the Twins not giving him 4 years, $100 million. We can slam the Twins on many fronts, but not giving Sonny Gray in that moment after the 23 season for 100, I supported. So I'm a little sick of the Sonny Gray talk.
Yeah, I agree on the Sonny Gray front, but like, don't lose that slot of valuable salary and then put Chris Paddock out there. Like,
correct. 100% on that. Yes.
So,
all right,
Darren,
boys, thank you.
Doogie, Wolfson, 5 Eyewitness News. And this is the Score North Twin Show. Plenty more ahead.